On this episode of the Nationwide Real Estate Mastery Podcast, we sat down with Benson Juarez to uncover exactly how to succeed as a real estate wholesaler, agent, or investor using Privy. Welcome to the Nationwide Real Estate Mastery Podcast, where we provide actionable steps to help you get your first or next real estate deal. Now, during this episode, you'll discover exactly how to succeed as a real estate wholesaler, agent, or investor using Privy. Now, for those of you who are new to the show, my name is Shaun Young, today's host, and I love all things real estate. Now, before I introduce you to our incredible guest speaker today, I want to make a request that if at any point in the show you like what you're hearing, please give us a thumbs up or subscribe to the show so that you never miss an episode. And make sure to take a look in the description of this episode, as we've packed it with thousands of dollars in free resources. Now, today, we have the privilege to learn from a man who has been fortunate enough to work at the two intersections of his passions, which is technology and real estate. Prior to his career in real estate, he was an active duty military serving our country. But all that changed when he started reading books and listening to real estate CDs while on duty. Guys, I want to introduce you all to the one, the only, Benson Juarez. Benson, thank you for being a guest on today's show.
Thank you, Shaun. I'm super excited to be part of the show, and I'm excited to be chatting with you again. It's been a bit.
Indeed, it has been a bit, man. And our relationship goes back a couple of years now, man. You are a good brother, and anything I could ever do to support your endeavors, I'm always there. You've got it. So
you prove it over and over again, man. You're one of the few people that has actually followed through with what he says he's going to do. I mean, there's all kinds of people in this business, and you find out really quickly who the good ones are. And we've been fortunate enough to grow into being good friends and not just doing business together. It's been amazing.
Absolutely, man. I love that part of the business. I love what you just pointed out. We kind of find our tribes within tribes, and we're definitely part of some of the similar tribes, and we are part of the same tribe for sure, man. Love to have you. So Benson, can you tell our listeners a little bit about your background and where you're from and how you even got started in real estate?
Yeah, so I'm born and raised in Denver, Colorado. I've moved around a bit, because of real estate type ventures, and the military, as well as technology has moved me some different places as well. But Colorado's home. That's where my family's at, and one of my other passions, I suppose, is family. It's really important to me to be around my close-knit family, because they're a good support structure and inspiration. And at the end of the day, that's really why I do what I do, and why I work so hard, is because I want to leave a legacy to my family. And it's you got to have a big why in a lot of things that people do, but in entrepreneurship, your why has to be even stronger. And I think I've got a good one.
Nice. Man, I love it, Benson. Now, before we dive into the steps on exactly how people can succeed as a wholesaler, agent, or an investor using Privy, you mentioned earlier, before we started recording, you mentioned that you were a glutton for punishment, and that you contribute a lot of your success to your ability to be able to grind it out. Why do you think that's played such a huge role in your success?
It's a lot of it goes back to just like how I was raised. Right. So my family doesn't come from money. My dad was a police officer for 30 years, a public servant. My mom, grew up, she was a bank teller. Right. And so we didn't have a lot, but they worked their butts off. And so they really instilled in me and in my brother the work ethic and the ability to not give up, not quit. And so it's just been kind of ingrained in me from a really young age. And so, neither of them were entrepreneurs, which is interesting that I ended up being an entrepreneur, because that wasn't anything that I was hearing at an early age. So it wasn't like indoctrinated into me at an age where I just didn't know any different. So that's an interesting thing I'd love to explore one day with my parents. But the grind part of it, I think, is just not wanting to fail, really going above and beyond. I mean, there's been times in my life where I was just sleeping on friends' couches, working hard, building relationships, not making any money, like working for equity. Like that's been a big thing for me, and for many years was working to and giving my ability to do business and make connections and execute in operations and in business for ownership in a company. And that started way back, quite a while ago. In the very first company that I was a part of was a mortgage company. And actually, when I was at the base, learning about real estate, I was listening to CDs, and I was I was reading books on real estate, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, a bunch of other authors, and that's kind of what inspired me to get involved in real estate. But as I was doing that, I met somebody who was doing loans, like mortgages,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, man, I want to do that, because I saw that they were making some money. And when I was at the base, I was working mids, right? So I worked from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. 4 days in a row, and so it was 4 days on, 2 or 3 days off. It was like this weird cycle. And so sometimes those days off would fall like right in the middle of the week. And, I was just sitting around like, what am I going to do for 3 days, in the middle of the week? And so I thought, well, maybe I'll just go and start doing loans. And so what I ended up doing was getting really good at it. And I'd be, working during the whole week, doing loans during the day, and then I'd go to the base at night and work. And I was like getting very little sleep, but I was making good cash. But I also was planning, because at some point my term was going to end with the military. And if it hadn't been for real estate, I don't know what I would have done. But I really was intentional, and I put a plan in place to where I was going to go and start, taking what I learned from doing loans and building connections to getting and starting to do my own deals, and then just kind of transition that way. So at that point, I was like, again, instilling in myself even further the grind, like just busting my ass during the day, excuse my language, and then going and serving my country at night, getting very little sleep, but making good money, getting a lot of experience. And then once, my tour ended, then I went and did it full time. And I started a mortgage company. And so I was able to do that with a partner who had a lot more experience than me. And I was able to get ownership in this company that she actually was, the majority partner of, with no cash, right? I was able to be an owner because I was willing to work for equity, and it worked out very well.
Nice, nice. That work ethic that you keep mentioning, it definitely sounds like that has been a consistent part of who you have been as an individual. And that saying is, how you do anything is kind of how you do everything, right? So that's definitely showing. Makes a
Yep.
lot of sense, man. Like, makes a lot of sense. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Well, you know, I got into the mortgage business, and then I eventually got licensed as a real estate agent.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had that, and I went and started my own real estate company. And then I started doing my own flips, buying rental properties, doing wholesale deals. And so I was really just kind of like stepping up my game in the real estate space by doing all these different things. And I was able to get a decent amount of money around that I could use for doing some of these deals, and it also led me to going in and starting to invest into tech companies as an angel investor. So I was able to put some money in some different projects. One of them was actually Privy. Um, I was an investor in the company before I was even an operational partner, and that's an interesting story. But before that, I actually put a little bit of money into a fintech startup in California, and actually moved out there once we raised a little bit of money, and basically worked for equity. I got a decent part of the company, and again, but I was living like on next to nothing. We didn't make any paychecks. We were just grinding, trying to turn this, financial technology company into something big. And it didn't end up working, but it was during that, it was 4 year time period where I went all in on this thing. And it was a great lesson. It didn't end up working out the way I wanted it to, but a lot of the technology startup companies don't make it. I mean, the majority of them just don't get there.
Indeed.
But it led me to be able to have skills and understand what I needed to do on my next project, which is Privy.
Guys, if you are a wholesaler, investor, or agent out there and you have not heard of Privy, I'm not sure where you've been, because it is literally the hottest new tool that is out there for investors in our space, and for agents and for wholesalers. So Benson, now that we've brought up Privy, we've kind of let folks know that it is a technology company. Can you explain to our listeners what is Privy, and what does it do, and how is it any different from anything else that's out there?
Yeah, so Privy is a real estate investment software. It's a web-based. You just access it from the internet. You log into a website. It's not anything you have to download, like an app or anything you put on your computer. But basically what we do is we help real estate investors, agents, wholesalers, creative deal structure type investors. Anybody who's really looking to analyze real estate is who our customers are. And we bring data in from multiple sources, and we've got actually we have a patent pending on our reverse REI search. Basically, we leverage what other investors have already done, the data of those deals, to help people find deals themselves. So it basically looks at all of the successful closed deals and says, okay, this is a model for what a successful deal looks like. The system models that and then looks for other properties that are just like those that you can get at a discount, and then highlights those and floats those to the surface for you. So you don't have to go and run comps on 100 properties to find the 5 that are good deals. The system does it for you. And then it builds a comparative market analysis, which is just like a report about the property and the area. It pulls comparable sales so you can look at as is value, but also most importantly, quickly determine the after repair value by showing you the properties in the area that support that. The fix and flips is what helps people determine ARV. And so this all happens behind the scenes. It's all automated with algorithms, and it's very, very powerful tool. One of the cool things that I don't think we highlight enough is the education that comes out of the system. There's a lot of tools out there that people use, but and there's a lot of really good educators, out there like yourself. Like, you teach real estate investing to people, but what you don't have the ability to do on scale is like to tell people like what a deal is, right? Like, you probably know what a really good deal is in Atlanta, right? Because that's where you live and that's where you've done the majority of your business. But especially in a shifting market, like, what is a deal in Dallas? What's a deal in Los Angeles? What's a deal in Minnesota? It's different everywhere, right? And so as an educator, you don't have the ability to provide that deep understanding of what a local market environment is like, but the data does tell you that. Now, this isn't just like a spreadsheet or some graph. This is visual information that you can look at that's based off of data that can quickly help you figure out like where the hottest areas are to invest, what investors are buying properties for, what they're selling them for, what percentage of ARV are they buying at, what kind of a construction project do you need to do to a house to turn it from $100,000 piece of whatever to a $250,000 fix and flip that people will live in. How long does that process take? We were able to kind of boil it down to timelines, like what's the construction period, what's the days on market for an average deal, what's the total hold time from when you buy the property to when you put the check in the bank. So all this information we extract from the universe of data out there and make it actionable so that you can quickly become a local market expert without having to go and do it like you did in the past, and it would take you, 5, 10 years to become an expert. When now, in an afternoon, by looking at the Privy data, you can quickly determine what a deal is, where you should be investing, and what properties you should be investing in.
Guys, that is huge. If you have even attempted to figure out how to do this business, if you're fumbling through it right now, if you're a newbie, if you're a novice, if you're an expert, all people need to have a great deal source, and you need to be able to identify exactly what a deal is. Guys, I can attest to this with my students. For us to determine markets where they're going to do business, we utilize Privy. Why? Because we don't deal with emotions. If a student says, "Hey, I want to do business in New York City because the last time I visited, man, it was just so fun out there, downtown New York, or Manhattan. I just love." No, that's not how we determine it. We do exactly what Benson said, which is we look at data. Where's the activity happening, and where's the activity happening that we could get involved with and provide, get in the mix. We don't want to go someplace where there's nothing happening. And this software, like you said, is visual. It shows you everything on a map. You can see it all right on screen, so you know exactly where to invest.
Oh yeah, and it makes it fun too, right? It's
Exactly.
almost like a video game. And I've had people tell me that using Privy is like a video game. They get in there, and it's visual in nature, and you're controlling stuff, and you have the ability to operate virtually, anywhere in the country, and to win the game is you getting a deal and locking it up and making money. And the rewards are real. We've got thousands of users and hundreds of people that are having massive success just by doing what it is that we teach. Yes, we provide an amazing product, but we don't just hand it to you and say good luck. We make sure that you've got the proper onboarding process so you can understand how to use the tool. We got ongoing live training where you can come and ask questions and look how I use it. Like I actually use the tool to do wholesale and invest in properties myself. I practice what I preach. I don't just sell a software and try to trick you into using our tool when maybe it doesn't provide any value. Like, it provides massive amounts of value. People are making hundreds of thousands of dollars using it, and they're just doing what I'm telling them to do and what the tool was designed to be used for.
Man, I love it. I love it. And now that's facts, guys. People are closing hundreds of deals out there using this software because, like you said, it's data, it's information, it's power. You heard that term, data is king. Well, here you go, guys. This is one of the best sources that I know of, if not the best source or the best tool that someone needs in their toolbox if you're serious about, being involved in this real estate space.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you this, Benson. What would you suggest someone do if they're just getting started? Like, how would they use your tool? And does your team kind of give them advice on what to do, or what does it look like for someone who's just wanting to use your tool and they've never seen it before?
There's an interesting thing, and it's been coming up a lot more lately, where people they buy our software and then they want me to teach them how to do real estate investing.
Interesting, huh?
And it's weird, right? Like, and there's this fine line between us, teaching people how to use Privy in their business to execute their own strategy, and then me teaching people how to do real estate investing. I talk about real estate investing when I show people how to use the tool to give it context, because that's how you need to show them in a way that's actually like an actual use case. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, I can't teach people how to do real estate. I'm not a mentor. I'm not a coach. I don't sell a course, like a large course. I've got a couple that I built, that for people who use Privy, but I'm not teaching people. And I struggle with that because I want to be able to show people how to do all of this stuff and get in the nuts and bolts of it, but that's not what we do. We're a technology company. Mm-hmm. So we do talk a lot about real estate investing when we're demonstrating the tool and how to use it, and how I use it personally. But there are some people that they don't get how to use the tool because they don't understand how to do real estate. yet, right? Because they come in thinking, oh, I got this tool, now I can go and they've, it does everything it's supposed to do. But if they don't know what after repair value is, like, they're not going to know how to use the tool, right? If they don't know how to analyze a property and understand value, even though our system does show them the comps, they're not going to feel comfortable writing an offer, right? And if they're not writing offers, then they're not going to get stuff under contract. If they're not getting stuff under contract, they're not going to close deals. So it's this weird kind of ground that we're in, Shaun, where, we can't give them everything, but this is exactly why I love working with you, because you do what I am unable to do, which is to teach them the real estate investing. And you're really good at it. And that's why I think this is a great partnership, is because we can have people using the tool and then they can talk to you about how to wholesale, right? And you have the ability to just do the nuts and bolts and actually get into the weeds with them on, how to talk with a seller, on a direct to, seller transaction, how to market their deal, all of that stuff is things that you're great at. We're great at building amazing software with the best data. And by the way, we hadn't even brought this up yet. We're the only platform that brings in direct to MLS data on scale like we do nationwide. And that is such an essential part of the value that we deliver to our customers, is that in a business where everything's about the numbers, if you are not analyzing properties with the best data that's available, the same data that agents use and appraisers use to determine value, then you're not serious about the business. Like, you would not go and you try to build a house without a hammer, right? Like, you need the tools to be able to actually do the project the way it's supposed to be done properly. So if you're not using the right data, then it's still a hobby and you're not really taking it seriously. Because in a business where if your valuers are off, 5% in either direction, that's literally the difference between you making or losing money, or getting into a deal you shouldn't be in, or passing up on a deal that had plenty of profit in it. Without a true understanding of value and the numbers, then you cannot have any meaningful success in this business.
Facts. And guys, our market has shifted. We are in what is now called or considered a buyer's market. So a lot of folks that are wholesalers are now going to the concept of what's called reverse wholesaling. And that's basically where they're going out finding the buyers or making relationships with buyers. Listen, guys, I don't care if you're looking for the deals first or looking for the buyers. With Privy, you also have the ability to dial right in and see who the buyers are in these markets. So building a solid buyers list in a new market is very, very easy, guys. And it's crucial in today's climate.
Yeah, I agree. It's interesting when they call it reverse wholesaling, but I think it's the only way people should do it. I was just on a call earlier today, one of our trainings that we do, and this person, her name was Lords, really cool name, was telling us that she found a deal on Privy. She got it under contract and she was going to wholesale it. And she had, like a 10-day kind of option period for her to go and do her due diligence, but also find her buyer. And she didn't have any buyers lined up.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, it was super stressful. I didn't have people to take it to. I was, rushing all around, talking to everybody I could talk to, looking for JV partners who already had buyers lists. And she was just like hours from canceling the contract so that she'd get out of the deal. But she actually ended up finding a buyer, which was great. But it's a perfect situation to show that, like, because she didn't have people lined up, she had to go through all that stress and the possibility of losing a deal that she's going to make $5,000 on it because she didn't have buyers ready. So I would definitely recommend to anybody who's going to be wholesaling is build your buyers list first. With Privy, it's really simple. We know who all the fix and flippers are in the country. We know who all the landlords are. You can download those right from Privy. And then you just got to reach out and build a relationship. But it's also an essential piece of determining what a deal is, right? We earlier I said, you look at other, closed deals to figure out what a deal is, but then you have to confirm, and you can say, okay, I saw that you flipped this house 1234 Main Street, Mr. Johnson.
Mhm.
Looks like you got it at 60% of the ARV. Is that kind of what a deal is to you? Is it about 60% of ARV or more? Tell me more about what you're looking for. Well, now you can confirm what the data told you with the actual buyer, fix and flipper. And that's so important because especially now in a shifting market, like maybe before they were buying at 60, but now they have to buy at 50 for them to
Mhm.
feel comfortable. But if you're not having those discussions and you don't have buyers in place, then you're going to go and you're going to write offers on properties blind and using some sort of a universal formula, which is a path to failure. Like you need to be communicating with your buyers. Otherwise, there's no point in searching for a deal if you don't even know what a deal looks like.
Exactly. That formula, guys. I want to touch on that before we move past that. Even with my students, guys, I'm telling everyone now that 70% rule or 65% rule, that's you got to throw that out because you got to go situation by situation for the most part. Am I right on that, Benson? Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. And even if a buyer says 60% is where I need to be, well, that's on like a standard deal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like a standard cosmetic flip, right? You're putting in a new kitchen, new bathrooms, new flooring, paint, maybe lighting, but it's not like a full gut. You're not going down to the studs, you're not replacing roofs, you're not replacing furnaces or major systems. That 60% won't work if there's going to be more work than like a normal fix and flip. So, and that all comes with talking with your buyers. And then, just like you said, it's situational. If that house has a tree growing through the middle of it, then you're gonna have to get it at 20% or 30% of the ARV for the numbers to work because you're gonna have a lot more costs.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, guys. I told you we're in for a treat today, guys, and that's what makes the Nationwide Real Estate Mastery Podcast show unique. Is that each show comes with a detailed, actionable, step-by-step plan to help you guys get your first or next deal. That way, all you guys have to do is pull the steps out of the show, create a blueprint, and implement exactly what we're covering today. And I can promise you guys, Benson is going to leave us some great giveaways. All you guys are going to have to do is take a look in the description. He will have links to reach him and for his generous giveaways as well. So thank you guys for checking that out. Make sure you do take a look in the description. So Benson, before the show, when you started to explain to me, how you got started in real estate, you talked about some of your earlier challenges. What were some of your earlier challenges, and how did you overcome that to get to where you are today?
Well, there's always challenges. Like if you're not challenged with something every day, then you're not trying hard enough, right? Like if you're living in a comfort zone, if you're comfortable, then that means you're not, pushing the boundaries and looking to do more. So there's always going to be challenges. The goal is though to be able to know how to react in those challenges and learn how to overcome adversity and being okay with your feelings getting hurt. Like right now, the country is in a really bad place because everyone is so afraid of hurting other people's feelings.
Mm.
And in business, your feelings are going to get hurt every day. And if you don't have the ability to overcome that and have, a strong will and the ability to know your value and your internal worth, you have to have confidence. You have to be able to believe in yourself. You have to be able to overcome adversity and get through those days where nothing's going right, everything's going wrong, and everything is telling you that you should quit. And if you listen to your inner self, your limiting beliefs, then you will quit. And I've done a lot of personal training where I've worked hard on myself and what holds me back and what stops me. And I think that everybody should really look inside and take an internal inventory about what's going on in there, because being an entrepreneur is not easy. Everyone's going to be your friends, your family. They're all going to tell you that you're crazy. They're not going to support you for the most part. You're going to have a select few who believe in you and will support you no matter what. But the majority of people just aren't going to understand what it is you're doing, and they're going to be telling you like, oh, you should just go get a 9 to 5 job. Go, don't invest in real estate. That's risky. What if you lose your money? And they're going to they're going to thrive and put it back in your face when you fail. They're going to love to say, see, I told you that wouldn't work. See, if you were just safe with me on this side of the fence, then you could be, just like me, 20 years on the job, got a nice pension, living from paycheck to paycheck. But with the ability or possibility of losing your job and not having any control of your own time or your own future, or the ability to actually succeed and make a lot of money and create generational wealth. Like a lot of people love living in that space. And if you listen to those people, you will quickly get out of the real estate business or out of entrepreneurship, because it is hard and you have to grind, right? Or like we talked about the grinding earlier. That means grinding is working like long hours, not just working for the sake of working, but working smart, putting in the long hours, really, putting together a strategy, trying to emulate the success of others so you don't recreate the wheel. Having good mentors and coaches around you, being around like-minded individuals, people who think the way that you do. What do they say? Your net worth is your network, right? So if you're hanging around a bunch of people who don't get it, that whether or not they're telling it to you, it's going to bleed into you, just through osmosis, right? Just being around it. So you want to hang around people that are doing the same things you are. You want to hang around people that are way more successful, way more intelligent, way more skilled than you are, because that will bleed into you as well. And you'll learn, and you'll be able to skip through a lot of the things that might catch you up. You'll be able to avoid or limit mistakes, limit the amount of money and time you need to invest in projects by just doing what others have already done. And then also get the inspiration, like, oh my God, I can do this. If he can do it, I can do it. If she can do it, I can do it. And you have control over all of that. We have so much more control over our lives than we realize, because it's just not normal. The average person, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're in real estate, you're maybe 2 out of 100 people. But that's how rare it is.
Exactly. Man, you are dropping some facts, man, and you are speaking a language that I know a lot of people out there are understanding, man. A rising tide raises all ships, guys. Surrounding yourselves with people who are where you want to get is crucial. You have to have the courage and the confidence to put yourself in these difficult situations, because that's where the growth happens, is through difficulty. Being able to persevere. Benson is telling you guys the 100% absolute truth. No matter how, sexy, folks make it look out there, or we may make success look, it's a struggle, guys. And it's something that you have to stay consistent at. And it's not made, I won't say it's not made for everybody, because it absolutely is for everybody, but you have to know that it's for you. You have to believe that it's for you, the same way that you believe a job is secure, or a job is, your security. It's just a mindset shift, and you have to surround yourselves with people who are thinking in the realm where you want to go. So, man, I love it, man. Don't debate with victims, because they'll beat you every time with experience.
I love that. I haven't heard that one before.
Yes, indeed, man. Benson, what do you think your life would be like if you would have never found this route in real estate, and you were still in the military, following everyone's advice, who's like, man, are you crazy? Entrepreneur, get a job.
I don't know. I probably would have done some sort of a public service, job, policeman or fireman, maybe, career military. I'd still have that in me to serve.
Mm-hmm.
That's definitely one of the things that I didn't mention earlier that drives me. Like, I love, like, what makes my day worth it is when one of our users gets on a call and is like, oh my God, Benson, I just found my first deal with Privy. Or like, I mean, people have literally said, thank God that you're in my life. Like, it's crazy.
Wow.
That's service, right? Like, I'm not, out, putting out a fire, but I do believe that we're having an effect on people's lives. I mean, it's a lot of, there's a lot of power with what we do. And I do think that a lot of people take it for granted.
Man, you are spot on, man. And I love that, man. You are definitely out there changing a lot of lives and providing opportunities for people to take control of their own lives and destinies. Just like you say, we're just guides out here. You guys are the heroes to your own journeys. We're just guides to help you out, just like people were guides to help us with our journeys. Man, great stuff.
Mhm.
Great stuff. Benson, we have made it to what I like to call the rapid fire session of the show. And this is where I ask you a question and you just tell me the first thing that comes to mind.
All right, let's do it.
Boom. All right. On a scale of 1 to 10, how strict were your parents?
7.
Get up early or stay up late?
Both.
How many hours of sleep do you get each night?
6.5.
Favorite or last book read?
Man. So obviously I don't read very much these days. um, this is going to be Think and Grow Rich.
Okay.
It's the last one I listened to.
Nice, nice. If you could be any superhero, who would it be?
Good one. Deadpool.
Oh, I love that guy. Something everyone should do less of.
Worrying.
Something everyone should do more of.
Serving others.
Bitcoin, bang or bust.
Right now it's a bust, but I'm hoping it turns around. I love the concept of it. It's too unstable right now. It is.
Agreed, agreed. If you had one wish, Benson, what would it be?
If I had one wish, it would be that my friends and family live long, happy, healthy lives.
Love it, man. All right, man. What final thoughts would you like to share with our listeners out here before we wrap things up?
Well, we're coming into an interesting time right now with the real estate market. There's a lot of uncertainty. A lot of people don't know what's going to happen. But the last time there was a downturn in the market was the greatest transfer of wealth that we had seen for decades. And if you're not prepared for what's going to come by making sure that you're educated, but making sure that you've got resources, money mostly, but also relationships, time to put into the real estate business, then you're just going to be reactive. I would say that's making a mistake. Like you really is now is the time to double down if you're in the space and just learn everything you can learn. Get the experience you need, because even if you know how to do things but you've never taken action, you're not going to be able to take action in another market as well. So
Mm-hmm.
really start to take action and get out of your own way. The major reason why people fail in this business is because they don't believe that they can do it. It's all limiting beliefs. Everybody that's listening to this has the tools to be able to succeed in real estate, entrepreneurship, and life if they were just get out of your own way. And that internal inventory I talked about earlier, like really take a close look at what it is that stops you from doing the things that you say you're going to do, and figure out what it is. Is it something that happened to you in the past? Is it this that you just don't believe that you can do it? If it's another reason, like if you can figure that piece out and you start to take action and get ready for what's coming, you are going to make a bunch of money in this downturn. Don't take it for granted. It's kind of, the stars are aligned for the people that are listening to this podcast right now. You have a huge opportunity to really succeed. Probably one of the best opportunities in history.
In history, the most millionaires will be created during this so-called downturn than ever in U.S. history. So Benson is spot on, guys. I hope that this has been an inspirational show. I hope it was divine for you guys, and you feel like it was divinely sent for you to hear it and listen to it, because it definitely was. Benson, how can our audience get a hold of you out there and get some more information?
Well, there's going to be some links down in the description there. Our website, getprivynow.com.
Mm-hmm.
Get Privy is Privy now.com. Is a place where you can learn more about us, but definitely use the links in the description there. Try Privy out. It's less than $100 a month, and for the amount of value that we deliver, with data and education and tools, it is going to be one of the best investments you've ever made in yourself and in your business. And there's a guarantee with 30-day money back guarantee. There's absolutely no risk. I've got hundreds and thousands of people who love Privy. You use it every single day. You just have to get out of your own way and take action.
Get out of your own way, man. I love it, Benson. Man, thank you so much for being a guest on today's show.
Thank you.
Man, you've shared a lot of valuable information with our audience today, man. Thank you.
Oh, my pleasure, man. It's been a blessing. I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. And to my listeners out there, you guys have made it to the end of the show. So give yourselves a pat on the back, because most people never finish what they start, and you just did. Now, if you guys got any value out of today's show, please share it with a friend or on your Facebook page. Like the video, subscribe to our channel, and send us topics that you want to learn more about. So until the next episode, guys, you can catch me on any one of my social media platforms. I'll see you guys on the other side. Thank you so much, Benson. You have an awesome rest of your day, brother.
Thanks, Shaun. You too, man.
Peace.
With this crown on my head, I'm seated on the throne. The top is so alone. Only thing that keeps me going is I know